This is episode 12 of Art, Why I Stuck with a Junkie Jazz Man. In episode 11, I joined Art outside of Synanon and we started taping Straight Life. In episode 12, Rolling Stone Ruins My Life. This chapter is called Maggie Part 2. As for my daughter, our visits continued for a while, according to the old arrangement, but shortly after a dreadful article about Art appeared in Rolling Stone, I got a call from Barrett, my ex. In a rush, permitting no interruption, he said, "I just want to tell you that we're moving in 2 days to New Jersey. You can say goodbye to Maggie tomorrow at May's house." A farewell party had been hastily arranged. He hung up. I called my lawyer, who said I couldn't stop them. He guessed that this last-minute notification and the party, during which we'd be surrounded by people, was to forestall any kidnap attempt on my part. The damned Rolling Stone piece was written at my cousin Evie's instigation by her boyfriend at that time, a schmuck named Grover Lewis. Evie was Eve Babbitts, a writer and artist, a celebrity. We grew up together and were very close. Evie was 3 years younger than me, but light years ahead in worldliness. She was a beauty with remarkable and insightful wit, inherited from her father, my mother's brother, the violinist, my genius uncle, Saul. She was a lively, witty, and very natural writer, and at that time, I think she was about to have her first book published, Eve's Hollywood. Her friend Grover was charming and lethal, and he cozied up to me and Art, got Art and himself very drunk, and then implied in what he wrote that Art was loaded on heroin during the interview. And what he said, Art said, had not much to do with what he did say. He made stuff up. He didn't use a tape recorder, so he made Art sound like his own idea of how a junkie jazz musician talked. Grover called us the night before the piece came out. He was crying. He was drunk and incoherent. He apologized and said his editor had pushed him for a, quotes, darker piece. After this, Evie told me blandly, quoting Joan Didion, that writers are always selling somebody out. The piece inflamed Carla's and Barrett's everlasting and ongoing wild fears, and Barrett seized at once and desperately upon a job in Princeton, New Jersey. They sold their house and hightailed it to the East, to a life they later said they couldn't stand, in order, they claimed, to escape me and the monster they read about in Rolling Stone. Evie owed me. So to this farewell party, thrown by her angel mother, my Aunt May, I encouraged her to invite some of her flashier friends. My guess was that Carla and Barrett would be dazzled by these stars. They'd hover less, and I could get a quiet moment with my child. It worked. While they stood rapt at my uncle's harpsichord, listening to Ronnie Blakely sing about her Idaho home, I grabbed Maggie's hand and took her upstairs, where I told her I loved her and would miss her, and gave her a tiny heart-shaped gold pendant with a diamond chip in it. I bought it for myself at 13 and had been wearing it ever since. And then we heard old Carla come thumping up the stairs, screaming and hysterical, "Margaret! Margaret!" She wouldn't call her Maggie, as Barrett and I had always done. She said it was an ugly name. Maggie had told me, crying, "My mommy doesn't like my name." So there was Carla, bug-eyed, out of breath, and white-faced in the doorway of the room we sat in. Oh, well, I was not the demon Carla took me for, but I was a rotten mother, and she was there, I hadn't been. I wasn't. They moved, and though I regularly wrote to Maggie, my letters were read by Carla and were often returned to me when I was so indiscreet as to say to my daughter, "I miss you." I learned later that their friends in New Jersey were led to believe that Carla was Maggie's mother, which made it awkward when my mother, uninvited, went back east to visit. They made her stay in a motel and entertained her at a restaurant so that they wouldn't have to tell anybody who I was, she said. I did slip something by them, though, a book. I sent, at Maggie's request, some Melisande stories in a book. I asked my Aunt May to make an illustration for it, and then I had it professionally bound. I figured correctly that Carla would never destroy or lose May's artwork. After this, I had no distractions from the work I'd undertaken and nothing to prevent me from being consumed by art.